Good evening, and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. I'm your host, Randy Rosenblum. In a little bit, we're going to hear from Tarek, but I have to talk about the Super Bowl and why I think it doesn't compare to high school football championships in Southern California. Modern-day St. John Bosco, whether it's in the city section, Birmingham beating a Garfield. And here's why. The game is way too long, the commercials are out of control, and they have you built in to believe the commercials are good. They're really not. The halftime is over a half an hour long. I know Rihanna is good, but I can't watch it. It's too long. And then we get to replay, which just destroys sports in general on television. My new goal is to have every play replayed and call it Super Bowl weekend so we can go over every single play. Is it a catch? Did the knee go down? Is he inbounds or out of bounds? It's ridiculous. Modern day St. John Bosco anytime over the Super Bowl. That's my take on that one. Speaking of modern day, Tarek, they have a brand new football coach. Earlier today, Frank McManus from the staff was named.
Yeah, they ended up going, I think, with an in-house hire, someone that's been part of the program for a while, and I'm sure someone that's going to be really excited to take things over and start a new era at Modern Day. I think we can all agree that school and that program is due for a fresh start, and hopefully Coach McManus can do that.
Yeah, he's been the defensive backs coach for 7 seasons, been at the school for 16 years. He seems to be the wise choice. All right, it's time to talk about the overhyped, over-publicized, overrated Mission League basketball
Oh, my
schools.
word.
Last week we told you they were 1-4 because Chaminade won in a lower division game. Then Chaminade got beat. Now we get to the open division, and we're going to start with St. John Bosco beating Harvard Westlake. There it is. Harvard Westlake was the #1 team in the state, supposedly. Your thoughts on that one?
You know, listen, it's the open division. Anybody can beat anybody. I'm not here to defend the Mission League. Do you have a good point? Sure, they're not playing their greatest basketball against the field. I get that, but I think any basketball coach will tell you Harvard Westlake ain't no slouch team. I spoke to David Arabibo today. His best players were 3 of 18 from the field, and they made 1 3-pointer in the game. Rough night.
Don't want to hear the excuses. Don't want to hear the excuses.
Those are the facts.
That was supposed to be the best league in the country. They're 3-9 in the tournament with all the different divisions. Next one, Corona Centennial by 20 over Notre Dame. This wasn't close. The Knights of Sherman Oaks lambasted at Corona.
Yeah, you know, 20 points, probably a larger deficit than we all thought. But again, that's the well-oiled machine of Josh Giles and the Corona Centennial Huskies. They're the defending state champs. You know, maybe it was 13 or 14, and then some free throws and some bad shots. It gets up to 20.
Bishop Montgomery over Sierra Canyon, who's 0-2. It was a close game. At least Sierra Canyon was competitive here with Bishop Montgomery, but the Trailblazers are 0-2.
Yeah, Sierra Canyon's not healthy. They don't have Isaiah Elohim, so that certainly
More
hurts
excuses.
Now, that's the truth. They have been playing without their best player, but hey, credit to Doug Mitchell and Bishop Montgomery, always a really good team. And anyone that goes to play Bishop Montgomery is going to have a tough time trying to win a game. So, yeah, it's not exactly a surprise. However, Sierra Canyon was undermanned. That's the truth.
3-9. 3-9 in the playoffs for the best league in the country. Not too good. Speaking of good, though, how about Modern Day?
Look at
Maybe
this guy.
they should have been in the open division because they had a win over Heritage Christian, and I know you were there.
Yeah, I was there. We got a quick clip of how that game ended. Sierra Canyon. Heritage Christian had a great game, but just came up a little short. And Modern Day was led by a freshman. Brandon Martinson had 15 points. Modern Day made 8 threes in that game. Heritage Christian's Tay Simmons, who's their best player, was only held to 6 points. Here it is. Seven Bahati finds the ball, just off the mark. And Modern Day comes to the Valley and gets a victory.
That's what Modern Day does. They win in the playoffs. They're from the Trinity League. Trinity League teams seem to be victorious.
Yeah, but they're not in the open division.
They should have been in the open division based on what I'm seeing here.
Okay.
They get Miracosta next. Let's move into the city quarterfinals. A real upset as Westchester knocked off Narbonne. Narbonne's the #1 seed. They're out 60-56. I think Marcus Adams Jr., their star, was a little under the weather physically. So maybe he was not 100% healthy, but still for Westchester, a very athletic team, this is a big win.
Yeah, of course. And again, it just goes to show. So, like, listen. So you're knocking the Mission League for their losses, but I don't see you hammering Narbonne. In fact, you're talking about Marcus Adams. I wasn't. See, so it goes both ways.
I never
man.
said their league was great.
Stop.
They're a football league.
You know
Come
what
on.
I mean. My point is the open division's the ultimate division for both sections. And in boys basketball this year, and girls basketball, it's not happening with Juju Watkins and Sierra Canyon. But in boys basketball this year, anybody can beat anybody, and that's what makes the tournament so fun. That's the truth.
That's the truth. A little later, we're going to have Lacrosse feature with David Bucchino. He's the head coach at Palisades. They've won the city title in lacrosse for the last 6 years. And I do want to talk about our next guest's team because it's the Birmingham Patriots. They got by in basketball over San Pedro. See, West Valley League teams win, even though they're from the Valley.
Yep.
77-64 over the Pirates.
Yeah, you know, I think everyone's excited about the freshman player over Birmingham named Caleb Newton. To be frank with you, there's so many good freshmen in the Valley. Caleb Newton, you know, doesn't get the light he deserves, but he certainly has opportunity to cast more light on himself with the semifinals and maybe the Open Division finals coming up.
Well, let's bring in Nick Halic, who I know we're both very familiar with. I think he does a great job. His teams always seem to play well in the tournament. We have Nick outside. He's a great visual at Birmingham High School. He's a happy guy. He's winning basketball games. He's got a big showdown coming up with Fairfax in the semifinals on Saturday. Nick, welcome to the program.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, just talk about your fabulous freshman. Why is he so good?
Oh, man, he's good because he's very versatile. He can really score the ball all three levels. He's a great passer. And, you know, as most freshmen, defensively, that was kind of his, you know, his hang-up early on. But against San Pedro, he did a really good job defensively. And he's coming along, man. He had 21 in that game. And, you know, really the sky's the limit for him. He's playing really well.
This Birmingham team, you know, going through the West Valley League, co-champions with Taft, and you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. Could maybe see Taft in the final once again, but you do have Fairfax ahead of you. What are the keys to the game for this semifinal game against Fairfax?
Man, I think taking care of the ball, rebounding, and, you know, just understand that they're going to grind it out, man. You know, I know it's a new coach, but he's not really new. He's been there for a long time. He's been through a lot of playoff battles. And so he's going to have his team ready to play, and they're going to play 4 quarters. So you gotta be ready to play 4 quarters of tough basketball.
Nick, your teams always seem to be there come tournament time. I was asked on another show who I thought was going to win this tournament, and I said Birmingham over Narbonne, even though Narbonne was the #1 seed. I trust your teams. How have you been able to build the culture at Birmingham where every year you got a shot at winning the crown?
I think really the scheduling helps us. You know, I think we try to play all kinds of different teams. You know, we went to the Tarek, we played Houston Christian, we just play so many types of teams, big players, athletic players. So once we get to regular season to league play, we can be ready for the team that challenges the most. And I think it carries over to the playoffs. I think, you know, one thing that helps us too is we're usually pretty versatile as far as our lineups. We can go bigger, we can go smaller. And I think we've had consistent guard play. You know, for the last few years, we always have some guards that can really put the ball in the hole, get other guys involved. And whenever you're in any tournament, if you have guards that can play and defend, you usually have a chance to win. So I think that's really what it's been. It's been the players. They do a great job. The coaching staff here, my assistant coaches are great. And, you know, we just try to go in there and give everybody our best shot every game.
Nick, talk a little about your team. Obviously, we talked about Caleb Newton, the freshman, but maybe 3 or 4 other players that deserve to be recognized while we have you here on the show.
Nassif is probably hands down one of the, you know, easily the best juniors in the city. He had 15 in that last game. He can lead us in scoring as well. You know, Corey Blunt and Tyson Jackson, they're our experienced players. You know, Tyson's really dynamic. He had a double-double last game. And Corey's another physical, versatile kind of player, does a lot of different things for us. And then as well as Alex Dupree, man, he came on late. He gives us a lot of versatility at the big spot. But I think, you know, overall, it's really pick your poison for us. We have a lot of guys that can contribute. and score the basketball. And I think, that's what helps us.
My last question for you, you brought up Tyson Jackson. He's a great point guard. Can you talk about why he makes your team work so well? When I watch him play, I kind of think of a floor general, can pick up the tempo with his energy. Would you agree with that? And what else does he do so well?
Man, he's an amazing athlete. That dude can dunk the basketball with two hands. I think we threw a lob to him in one of the games. I can't remember. It might have been El Camino. Caleb threw a lob, and he catches it and dunks it with two hands. And he's a generous 5'8", right? He's 5'8" in tennis shoes, or whatever he is. But he's tough, man, and it's hard over height for him. He can shoot the ball. He's real crafty with the dribble. But his athleticism at that spot and being able to make passes, that's where he's really improved this year. He's been able to pass the ball to guys in certain spots where they can really score. And those 10 assists against San Pedro was a vast improvement from the first time we played him.
It's the West Valley League against the Western League, where you have the two teams from each of those leagues. What would it mean for you guys to end up playing Taft? I know Tarek touched upon it, that you guys are from the same league, but you've also played two dramatic games that went down to the wire against the Taft Toreadors. How special would that be to meet that basketball team one more time for all the marbles, including the rubber match to win the West Valley League?
I think to be honest with you, man, it's always special when there's two Valley teams from representing the city section in the finals, right? It happened in football a long time ago. Pretty sure we won that matchup, if I remember right. But whenever it happens, it's going to be special. If it happens, right? They got a job they got to do. We got a job we got to do. We are 100% focused on Fairfax. And, if it happens, we'll be blessed either way, whoever we play in the championship game. Well, we gotta worry about Fairfax. Same colors, but different school.
Well, Nick, best of luck. Congratulations. You've won this tournament a couple times previously. I know your team is talented and ready to go, and it's not going to be easy on Saturday, but good luck at Pasadena City College against the Fairfax Lions.
I appreciate you guys, and, next time you have me on, at least you got to give me a chance to come on in the morning so I can review some burritos with our guy here. Sorry.
That's a great suggestion, too. You're still doing that, right?
Of course, man. Of course.
Bring me in studio, have the whole spread. We line them up, and we just see what's good.
Tarek's going to get his own cooking show on Channel 36. Thanks, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.
Congratulations on the baby, too, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We'll see you on Saturday. Thanks, Nick.
All right. Thank you, Nick. All right, we're going to talk some lacrosse when we come back. Dave Bucchino's got it going at lacrosse at Palisades High School. They're winning. They've won 2 city titles under his tutelage. They've won 6 in a row. They have a huge matchup against Miracosta tomorrow night. We'll do that match live at 6 o'clock. We'll talk to Dave about that right after this from our friends at Pacific Surfliner.
California has always been a land of discovery. From historic gems to iconic beaches to top attractions. Let the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner be part of your journey as you explore more of the place we call home. Reconnect with the communities you love most, with the people you love most. Isn't it time you rediscovered Southern California?
How many people, and be honest with me, have heard of Harrison Kerner Wolfowitz? Not a household name, but he is the goalie for the Palisades Dolphins. I want to find out.
What a name.
Is that like the best name ever? Or
yeah,
what?
It is. It is.
Might be another great name. That's Dave Bucchino, who's the head coach. And again, he's done a tremendous job there. We got him sitting in his car. He's going to, after the interview, he's going to run out and do his practice. So, Coach, tell me about Harrison Kerner Wolfowitz, your goalie.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Harrison just started playing goalie this year. He's a great kid. Being a goalie in lacrosse, you got to be vocal. You got to be not afraid of the ball, and he's pretty fearless, and he really is ready for the challenge. So we're excited to have him.
I know you have one of the top players in Southern California, and Halic Grieve. Tell us about him. I know he's going to the University of Denver, which is noted for lacrosse.
Yeah, so So Axel is he's a junior, so he's on the younger side, which is great. And he's a freak athlete. He's a multi-play soccer as well. He shoots over 100 with both hands, and he's a very versatile player. And the best, I think, one of the best components about him is that he's extremely humble, and he makes sure that he works just as hard as if he didn't have those recognitions. So we're very grateful and happy to have him on the team. And he's an exciting player to watch.
Dave, my question for you is really kind of, I always think to myself, okay, lacrosse. For someone that's not too familiar with the sport, if you had to say, all right, in order for a player to be successful, these are the foundational components a player needs to have. I would say, like, for basketball, you got to be able to dribble with both hands, shoot, play defense, right? For lacrosse, what are those some foundational skills a player needs to be good?
That's a great question. I think, actually basketball comes hand in hand more so than any sport, I feel, with lacrosse. And I think the biggest component is our stick skills, is hand-eye coordination. But that's something that can be taught. And what's great about lacrosse is it can translate to many different sports. So, whatever sport you play, like, for example, Harrison was a soccer player, and I think he was a soccer goalie as well. So some of those motions, some of those muscle memory things are able to kind of transpose to lacrosse. So I would say a lot of the hand-eye coordination, I would say defensively being a kind of a two-way player. And just like anything, it takes resilience and practice. And yeah, so I would say kind of have a good understanding of positioning, patience, and again, like the stick work, catching and passing is the biggest component. And also, like other sports, you count rebounds or whatever, but ground balls are really important in lacrosse. It's actually a statistic. So, and I play with guys who have never scored a goal, but get over 500 career ground balls, and they're all Americans. So, getting ground balls and fighting for the ball is really important because that gives you possession. So it's a bunch of little things in between that kind of add up.
When you talk about those ground balls, I can't imagine, there's got to be an element of toughness and kind of grit, man, to get on the ground and win those loose balls. How important are, 50-50 balls, so to speak, or kind of just winning those balls, on the ground? How important are those to winning games?
They're probably the most important thing, to be honest. In lacrosse, too, specifically, we start at the face-off, and sometimes the face-off guy, he drags out the ball, and the ball is not always in his stick. So, I specifically put out, two guys on the side who can grind it out and get ground balls, and they may not even play offense or defense for the game, but they're just really good at getting ground balls. So I think it is probably 95% of the game, and ground balls win games for sure.
Coach, I know you're from the East Coast, where a lot of games are played in lacrosse and the television exposure is great. Not so much in Southern California. This is, I think, the first time an LA City section team, Palisades, your team, has ever been on television. I don't think any city section team's ever been on TV. Miracosta may have been on many, many years ago, but probably not. So as a viewer, what should they be looking for when they watch your team tomorrow night on our air at 6 o'clock against Miracosta? What are the fans going to look for watching the game?
They're going to look for it's going to be a good game. Miracosta is a really strong team, and they should just look for versatility on both teams. It's going to be back and forth. Defensively, I know we both have strong defense, so both our offenses are going to be tested. And I think honestly, everyone should just tune. It's going to be a good game, and we're very grateful that LA 36, you guys are giving us that exposure as well. So we're excited for it.
Dave, we kind of talked about it before the show, a little bit off air. The growth of lacrosse. It's certainly, as a high school sports reporter, I've seen it grow. Is it huge? No, but it is growing. What are some elements that have shown you it is a growing sport here in Southern California among all the big-time sports, so to speak?
Yeah, it's a good question. What I see a lot of is a lot of the youth programs. I know a lot of just simply like middle schools, their programs are growing. Again, we said off air is I coached at Paul Revere Middle School, and that program went from 10 kids to 40 kids, and there's a lot of training opportunities now for students, for kids, especially because being from the East, there's a limited training sometimes because you got to rent out a facility. or in the winter, and now California, the weather's beautiful, so players are able to practice year round, and I think that club teams and high schools and youth programs are starting to catch on to that. So I definitely see lacrosse growing a lot, and I know that it's grown exponentially in Southern California as well. So I know some of the top players are getting recruited out of here, so it's really exciting.
We need to get the city section to compete with you. You've won the city title 6 years in a row. The Dolphins have been dominant, 7 out of 8. I think Birmingham's the only team to break through in the history of the city section. So how do we get some balance in the city section, or is your Dolphin team going to continue to dominate the city section?
I see both. Right now I think there's 2 different pools, and Birmingham and El Camino have really grown their programs a lot. I still think we're going to be pretty successful, I feel like, in there, but I don't know. I think maybe next couple of years if we're able to move conferences possibly, but right now it's great seeing the growth of it. So I think both teams are really trying to build their programs up, and we're here to play with them. So it's exciting for everyone. It gives all of us and gives both of us. So I know both programs, all of our programs schedule out of conference games as well. So it allows us to play outside competition and really challenge ourselves on both ends.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Looking forward to doing the show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Best of luck against Miracosta. I know they've given you some trouble in the past. Should be a great game, Coach. Thanks for coming aboard. We appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time, and congratulations on the baby as well, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Yeah. Tarek's the most popular guy in town, and his wife's doing all the work. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
You're really using that as a calling card, aren't you?
Hey, man, people, I don't know. We say we're having a baby, and everyone is happy for me. So isn't that the way it should be?
Yeah, I'm happy for you, too. Look at this. Sierra Canyon decked it out pretty good. Look at this.
We got a little time, so I'm going to tell a quick story. What's happening is every time I go to cover a game, Randy, I call ahead to an AD. It's a courtesy. Hey, I'm going to be at your game.
For the Daily News.
Right, I'll for the Daily News. I'm on deadline. If you could set me up somewhere where I can have my computer, it would really, really helpful. So what begins to happen is they just put a piece of paper out, like Tarek Fatel, like a reserved seat. And it's always so nice. And I'll take a photo of it and tweet it out. Hey, look, so-and-so high school is taking care of the media. This is great. And over time, it's evolved, maybe a chocolate, maybe a water bottle, a sandwich, right? Just the hospitality. So the other night, I was at Heritage Christian for Valentine's Day, and Rebecca Kendrick, the AD, put out some chocolates. Very nice. I tweeted it. I show up to Sierra Canyon on Wednesday night, and David Sobel, the SID, goes, oh, I got everyone beat. I go to my seat, and there's a little baby outfit for me. So, man, I think that's going to be hard to beat. What do you think?
By the time you're done with this, you might get a new car, maybe a house.
Yeah,
you might retire.
My wife goes, maybe the next school, they'll give you a stroller.
Yeah.
So, very, very nice of Sierra Canyon. And my wife actually said, oh, my gosh, they're getting the recruiting done early. So I thought that was pretty funny. But obviously just super nice and very nice to see the community happy for me and my wife, which is just above and beyond generous and nice.
This show is always about Tarek Fatel.
You're the one that brings it up.
It's 30 minutes of Tarek Fatel. I'm just happy to be here. All right, some basketball games to look at this weekend presented by our friends at Pacific Surfline. And we'll start with West Ranch, undefeated in their pool in the Open Division of the Southern Section playoffs at Harvard Westlake. This is a chance for Harvard Westlake to redeem itself.
So really all it is, just to simply break down the Open Division, if West Ranch wins, they're in the final. They win the pool 3-0, okay? If Harvard Westlake beats West Ranch and St. John Bosco loses, Harvard Westlake goes through. I'm telling you, I know this, you don't have to look down on your paper. I got this, Randy.
I know that, but who do you like in the game?
Oh, oh, man. God, it's a tough pick.
Well, you're paid for tough picks.
I know. I think I got to lean West Ranch. Just
really?
A slight
on
lean.
The road.
Slight lean to West Ranch. I almost feel like it's their year. But, again, Harvard Westlake shot really poorly last game against St. John Bosco, and it's like lightning don't strike twice. You see what I'm saying? In the same place. So it's going to be a toss-up. But really quick, if St. John Bosco wins and Harvard Westlake beats West Ranch, St. John Bosco will go through the Open Division final in a 3-way tiebreaker.
All right. Next up, Bishop Montgomery at Corona Centennial. Corona Centennials, the two-time champions,
Right.
the state champions. They annihilated Notre Dame. They had a little bit more trouble with Sierra Canyon. Now, if they win this, they win the pool and go back to the championship.
That's exactly right. I just don't see Bishop Montgomery winning that game on the road at Centennial. I just don't see it. But it's Doug Mitchell, and they're always well coached, Bishop Montgomery that is, and things could get a little weird, and maybe Bishop Montgomery gets an upset. Now, I will say this. If Bishop Montgomery wins that game, they advance.
That's true.
Which is that would be crazy.
All right, because the CIF is being nice and they want to give the Mission League a win, they have Sierra Canyon against Notre Dame. So one Mission League team's got to win that
There
game.
you go. Yeah, that'll be the third time those teams play this year. They played in the regular season, obviously. They played in the Mission League tournament. And now this will be the third time Notre Dame won both those games.
And, of course, then there's St. Bernard and St. John Bosco. And I like St. John Bosco.
Yeah, it's hard to see St. Bernard going on the road and beating St. John Bosco. And that game matters. St. John Bosco needs to win that game to advance, and they need Harvard-Westlake to beat West Ranch.
Let's talk some girls basketball in the city section. We'll also mention the southern section. The semis are at Pasadena City College. It's actually 4 games, 2 girls and 2 boys games in all the semis. King Drew and Granada Hills. Granada's the top seed. They are a favorite here, and probably a substantial favorite.
Yes, I think we're looking. Okay, here's the girls. Yes. Okay, sorry, I was a little confused. Okay, yes, Granada, I think has been the team to beat. You and I have we might have to put like a little, maybe a little wager.
Oh, yeah.
If we see
Westchester's
Granada
the team to
Westchester in the final, we might have to put a little wager on it. But I think Marianne Boko is the best player in the city, so that's why I think Granada's going to win.
Crenshaw will play Westchester. Westchester will win that game, and then they'll beat Granada Hills in the conference. They'll win the city title.
Wow.
What do you want to bet on it? We're not
We'll
gonna
go
bet.
lunch or something.
You pay every time anyway.
Yeah, okay, double lunch.
You are very good about that. I appreciate that. On the southern section side in girls, Sage Hill at Sierra Canyon. That's going to probably be a blowout.
Yeah.
Sierra Canyon has been great. You were there the other night when they blew out
Ontario Christian. Yeah,
Christian.
it was
That was
80 to
ugly.
18 was the final.
26-0 in the second quarter.
26-0 in the second quarter, and it wasn't. And you know, it's one of those things where you look at the score and you go, "Oh my gosh, Sierra Canyon, class it up a little bit." Juju Watkins didn't even play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Mater Dei at Etowanda. Dangerous game for Etowanda. This is a very good Mater Dei Monarchs team. Etowanda's the favorite at home, but that'll be dangerous. All right, let's turn our attention to the boys' semifinals. Westchester and Taft. Westchester coming off the big win over Narbonne. Taft up and down most of the year. Derek says his team, Derek Taylor, is playing better right now.
Yeah, Derek Taylor is one of the better coaches maybe like in all of Southern California, and you know we're going to see if he can coach his way to the final. I like their chances against Westchester, but
I do too.
You know, Taft is weird. I saw them last year lose to King Drew, like, you know, real. So I don't know. It's a team that's a bit inconsistent. That's why I like your Birmingham pick. I really do. Birmingham, they may not shoot the ball well every game, but boy, do they play hard every single game.
And that takes us to the Fairfax Birmingham game. So you obviously like Birmingham.
I do. I like Birmingham because Nick Halic has his guys ready all the time. They play with their butts on fire. That's just how they play, and they get after it. So
Are you allowed to say that on TV?
Yeah, absolutely.
Carr's a really good player for Fairfax, though.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and hey, look. Listen, in the postseason, one dynamic player that gets hot, you know, can really change things. So that's possible.
Any impressions on baseball early on?
Early on, not really. It's so early. Baseball is one of those things where just the games are played so often. It's like, okay, one team loses next. But listen, it's about the pitching. On any given day, you got your best pitcher out there. That's what gives you the chance. So I'm not going to go off and say teams right now and who's looking good, but it's just too early to tell.
Tomorrow night, we got lacrosse. You looking forward to that?
I am looking forward to that. I think that's really awesome that lacrosse is on TV, and the city section is going to have a team on the airwaves for the first time playing lacrosse. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got Mitch Fenton doing the color. Mitch is in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame in Southern California.
Wow, good get.
Oh, well, you know, you get lucky sometimes. You know, Mitch is a really good guy, and he'll break that match down, and I'll try to call it and have some fun with it. The other thing we want to discuss is we're not going to be on next week for a good reason. Show's not getting canceled. I know, no, we're going to stay on, but we'll be on in 2 weeks at 9 o'clock, and I'll tell you why. We're going to cover some city girls and boys championships out of the city section. Now, I say that next Thursday, not really knowing, because they can change the brackets. They can move the games around. We think it's going to be a boy and a girls game, but it could be 2 girls games and it could be 2 boys games, but it's going to be next Thursday night right here from Birmingham High School. I think that's really great.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I think, it could be like a Division II final, sure. Division III girls, something like that. So really good. Anytime a championship's on the line, it makes things more intriguing.
I don't know about you, Tarek, but my head's always spinning about this time of year. You got soccer tournaments going on. I know Birmingham won again. They win in everything in soccer, so they advanced. They knocked out the team that beat them last year in the final Southeast. And we're going to wrap it up. We'll see you in a couple weeks. For Tarek Fatal, I'm Randy Rosenblum. 2 weeks. We'll be on live at 9. And remember, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, Lacrosse with Miracosta in Palisades. That's it for now. We'll see you soon on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.
That Birmingham.